This is Amud Yomi Gemara Shabbos Daf Yudches Amud Aleph, the incredible Amud for Tainis Esther, a wonderful day of Tefillah. And today's shir has been dedicated and sponsored as a Schos Refuah Shlema for Moshe Israel ben Liba B'Siyata D'Shmaya. The Schos HaTorah, especially on such an incredible day, should bring a complete refuah shalema to Moshe Israel ben Liba. And again, anyone else that'd like to share in this chos, please feel free to reach out. We pick it up from Yochesam and Aleph. We started the Mishnah yesterday, which taught us the concept of Shvisas Kalim, as we're going to learn about right now, the 5 different machlaikisim, Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, in which in basically all of them, the theme is, Beis Shammai says, you do something on Friday, it has to finish on Friday. If it goes into Shabbos, even if you are not doing anything, but your wool itself cannot be absorbing the wool, your items themselves cannot be working. Whereas Beis Hillel disagreed, and the Mishnah concluded that for some reason, the wine press and the olive press, that is something that even Beis Shammai allows to continuously to press the item down on Shabbos, which we'll see. So says the Gemara 4 lines down, Yudchesam and Aleph, Man Tana. Who is the Tana of our Mishnah that holds the Sinas Mayim, the Diyai? Zuhi Shri Yasan. They're putting water into ink with ingredients, and you didn't even mix them. That is called soaking. That is called the creation of the dough. That is potentially part of the malacha of kneading, of lisha, which would be forbidden on Shabbos. And that's the reason why Beis Shammai would not allow it to continue into Shabbos. Amar Rav Yosef Rebbe Hidetanya. Says Rebbe, if one guy puts flour in the bowl and one guy puts water in the bowl, no one mixed it. The person who poured in the water, the mere placement of the water, and this in the world of Lisha is an incredible shita of Rebbe, that by merely placing ingredients in a situation that they are mixed on their own is forbidden. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, there's no chiyuv, there's no isser of lash of kneading items unless you actually are megabel, unless you actually need them, unless you mix them together. Says the Gemara, 1 second. How do we know that Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda's din applies elsewhere? Maybe when did he say that you have to actually mix the items? Is by flour, because flour needs to be mixed. If you don't mix that flour and water, you're not going to have a dough. Aval diyai, but when it comes to ink, to lavar gibelu, doesn't need to be mixed. You leave the dye, you leave the water on its own, you leave the herbs. What's going to happen on its own? It's going to mix and it's going to create a dye. Maybe even Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda would agree that one is obligated without mixing it. Answers the Gemara, no. Don't suggest this. The Tanya learns in a Raisa. One puts the ash. One puts the water until you need it. Even though we're talking about ash, and ash is not an item that you could need, and still Rav Yosef Yehuda holds, until you do a maisa, an act of mixing, an act of kneading, there's no obligation. Says more 1 second, don't my afer offer. Maybe it really doesn't mean afer ashes. It means offer. It means dirt of our gibelu, which is a way of kneading it to create a clay type of substance. Aiva tanya afer, tanya offer. Tanya, the 2 different prices, and that's really how the Gemara concludes, not being clear whether Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda is only talking about something that could be mixed, or something talking about that, or something even on something that can't be mixed. This ensues a massive machlekes rishayim achreinim all the way down la halacha la ma'isa, and this of course is where it comes from. Something like oatmeal, even if you don't mix it or you mix it with a shino, you even allowed to make it. Maybe the mere placement of the 2 items is an issue. And this is the reason why we're machmer, that even in the placement, you do it with a shino. You don't put in during the week, you put in the oatmeal and then the water on Shabbos. You have to, of course, do the opposite. And then as well, mix it with a shino. Continues the Gemara Tana Rabbanan, going back into the dinam of the Mishnah. Says the Gemara, Paiskim at the 2 dots, about 20 lines down. Paiskim, I am the Gina, Erev Shabbos Imcha Shecha, you're allowed to open up the water channel out of Shabbos to allow the water to go into your field on Friday. You can let it fill with water throughout Shabbos. You can put the incense like Erev Shabbos. You used to light a fire with some incense, which would give up the good smell, and then it would impart it into the clothing. You're allowed to do that Erev Shabbos. And you could let it continuously burn, continuously adding into the good smell into the clothes, even on Shabbos. You could put sulfur on Friday. These are silver items. And it will become sulfurated throughout the whole Shabbos. And what this does is it makes it actually blackens it and makes the etches in a little bit better. You can put keeler, which type of eye ointment on your eye. You can put a dressing on a wound. Erev Shabbos Friday before it's dark. And what's going to happen as you go into Shabbos? The ointment's going to be in the eye, the wound's going to be on your arm. And you're going to be healed throughout Shabbos. So because you did it on Friday, even though it goes into Shabbos, says the Brisa like sheet, that's Beis Hillel, that will be allowed. You're not put wheat into the water mill on Friday, unless it has the time to grind it on Friday. Why? My time. Why is wheat different? New problem. It makes noise, and of course, this is where we come from. That items that make noise, your dishwasher, the laundry machine, even though you turn it on Friday, if it's something that makes noise, you can hear it outside of the room, that would be usher. As we see over here, Rabbah says that Beis Hillel's maskim, things that make noise are forbidden. But are you going to tell me that the reason that you're not allowed to grind on Shabbos maybe is because of Shvisas Kalim, your utensils have to rest? It's Anya. Everything I said to you, you should watch. The Rabbi Shvisas Kalim comes to include that even your Kalim have to rest. But Elam Rav Yosef Mishum Shvisas Kalim, the reason that you're not allowed to put to grind the item is because of Shvisas Kalim. So says the Gemara, maybe that's the reason. And it's not because of making noise. But ask the Gemara 1 second, if the whole issue is Shvisas Kalim, that your utensils can't work. But if you're going to tell me that Beis Hillel agrees, what about the whole Brisa? The Brisa listed items that you're allowed to have your Kalim working for you on Shabbos. So you, Rav Yosef, if you're telling me the issue with grinding is that your mill cannot work for you on Shabbos, so why could your sulfur work for you? Why can your incense work for you? Says the Gemara, Misham Taloika Avid Maisa, because you did not do a Maisa on Shabbos. Says the Gemara, but what about the bundles of flax? They also didn't do a Maisa, and that was allowed. That also seemingly did a Maisa, and that's allowed to be done into Shabbos. Beis Hillel says it's allowed because the oven is not doing an act, and it's fully passive. What about your traps? To cover Maisa, you put out a trap on Erev Shabbos. Your trap is doing an action for you on Shabbos, and yet my time is Shari. So if you're going to tell me the only time that Beis Hillel allows for an item to work for you on Shabbos as if it's only passive, as if not doing an actual action. 1 second, the traps are, says Gemara Asanami, Beluche, Vekukri, Lokav, and Mais, talking about fish hooks and baskets where no action is really done. So the Gemara is splitting hairs over here in what level we are allowing Kelim to work. But concludes the Gemara, but now the Rav Aisha said, Ravasi, Montana Shvisas Kalim Daraisa, Beishama Hivaloi Beis Hillel. Not like you, Rav Yosef, just suggested. That who is the opinion that holds that your Kalim have to rest? That's Beishamai, LeBeishamai, Bein Kavin Maisa, Bein Deloi Kavin Maisa Aser. Now that they suggested that really Shvisas Kalim is a din in Beishamai, we're going to make a full split. According to Beishamai, your kelim, your utensils cannot do any form of work, whether it's work or not. If your utensils working for you on Shabbos, it would seem you can't even have your lights on Shabbos. Your utensils are working for you, according to Beishamai. But Beis Hillel, it's going to be shari. It's going to be mutar. I'm going to stop over here. We'll pick up from here in the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.